Welcome to Uncorked Crime. It's Amelia,
Kelly,
and Megan,
and we're at episode 2.
Woo!
We had an issue with Apple Podcast. Our episodes weren't all showing up, but the issue is now resolved, so we are so sorry about that. But thank you all for listening, following, subscribing, giving us a review.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, just that you guys care enough to listen to us. Shout out to you.
Keep following.
Shout out to everyone reaching out to us too.
And letting us know.
Individually, giving us feedback and whatnot. That's extremely helpful and supportive. Thanks to all my friends that have reached out. You guys are the best.
We wouldn't have known about the issue, so keep reaching out.
Yes.
Oh, now, next. Who's ready for a giveaway?
Woo.
We're going to leave it open for some time, so we'll just say 2 weeks for now. Is that good? So if you rate us and give us a review.
A written review.
A written review.
On Apple Podcasts.
On Apple Podcasts.
And let us know.
And you have to let us know. So whether you screenshot it, send it to us in a message, or email it to us so we know that you did it, you will be entered into the giveaway. And in 2 weeks from now, we will draw one winner.
And then we'll send you some goodies.
Yes.
Some uncorked crime goodies.
Yes.
Merch. Some merch.
Homemade.
So we had people reach out to us, like we said, and with our rapid fire episode, we had talked about how one of the chores we hate doing is cleaning the shower.
And how I lazily clean my shower. So our brother John, shout out John, his girlfriend Kiana, shout out Kiana, reached out and told us a trick she has for washing her shower that we wanted to share with everyone. So if you get a regular Swiffer, like the one without the spray that just put the pads on it, she literally just uses that to wipe the walls. So she doesn't have to reach in. So after she texted this, I literally went out, because I have one of those Swiffers. I went out and bought extra pads specifically to clean my shower, which I haven't done it that way yet. But that way you don't have to get bend down on your hands and knees, get close to all the hair and stuff.
I would have never thought of that.
That's hilarious.
Never would have. So thank you, Kiana, for the tip and for the reach out. I will text you and let you know how it goes when I do it.
That's hilarious.
And if anybody else is struggling like we are, get yourself a Swiffer.
Yeah. Really cheap at the dollar store, so.
Also, our cousin Paul messaged us on Instagram. And remember how the Crouch sister's name was? I said Pamelia because it's literally Amelia with a P in front of it. I didn't realize that that's probably Pamela.
Pamelia?
So thank you, Paul, for calling us out, because clearly we don't know how to read. It's either Pamela, Pamelia, or...
I think anyone would have made that mistake.
Pamelia, yeah, that was the other one.
It's okay.
So yeah, shout out to you guys. Thanks for
reaching out.
Helping us out.
Yeah. Tips and tricks.
Okay. We all got our slippers on?
Yep.
Well, my feet are tucked up, so they're off, but they're right down there, yes.
Okay. Are we binging anything?
Yes.
What are you binging?
Because you asked me on the rapid fire, and I felt bad that I wasn't. Next in Fashion on Netflix.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've never heard that. I got so excited.
There's only one season, but it's really good. But it's totally me.
Yeah, that sounds
And
good.
I'm going to start Glow.
Finally!
I have nothing else to do.
Yes, have you seen Glow?
No.
You need to watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm binging?
CSI.
CSI Miami, all seasons.
Didn't you already watch that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a list. I found a list online of the top 10 Netflix documentaries.
Can you send them to me?
Well, there was an MLive article that I actually sent out, but I wrote them down at home. I'll take a picture and send it to you. So that's my list. I've already seen 2 of them, but I'm going to work my way through
I
that
found
list.
my old Desperate Housewives DVDs, and I think I'm going to start them from the beginning.
I watched Desperate Housewives. They had it on Hulu, and then they took it off.
They
had it on Netflix. And
every single season.
Such a good series.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that for a little bit.
I used to watch with Grandma Miguel.
Really?
I would walk over to her house. We used to live next door to each other, those that don't know. I'd walk over and we would watch it every night that it was on.
Mom used to watch it on her TV in her and Terry's bedroom.
Really?
Oh my God, yes.
That small ass TV.
Oh my gosh.
Because she'd shut the door and we weren't allowed in
I
there while
love
she
that
watched
show.
it.
Another good show to binge. I haven't binged it yet, but it just came out on Netflix. The Innocence Project. Kelly started it.
Innocence Files. I thought it was.
Sorry. Yeah. You're
I'm
right.
one episode in. It's about people who went to prison but were actually guilty.
Can you send that to me?
It's on the list
Okay.
of top 10
Okay.
to watch.
And The Pharmacist.
Oh, we watched that, but I gave up.
I did too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was good. I thought he was so cute.
I don't know if I finished it.
He was cute, but me and Scott were over it, like the middle of it, and we stopped.
What about
I was shocked on the killer.
what about the drug one? What's that one called?
Drug one.
It's this lady is, what she does is she, like, there's a drug bust or like police find drugs. They send it to her and she tests it to see if it's real or not. But she ends up like skimming it and like becoming a drug addict.
How to Fix a Drug Scandal is what it's called.
Yes.
It's good.
It is good. It's only like 4 episodes. It's a very short one.
But they're long episodes.
Yeah. It's like a limited series. But that one, I just watched that the other day.
Okay.
I don't know why I do this though. I live by myself and I'm watching all these like true crime, scary TV shows. The other day I was watching, it was like 9:30, so it's getting late. And my phone rings and I about shit my pants. I was so scared.
I don't know
I was like,
that.
I need to stop doing this. So, yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for some wine.
Yeah.
All right. Another Aldi purchase. Landshut Pinot Noir Rosé, straight from Germany. And it's a twist off, so it's really easy.
We love a twist off.
Let me read the notes of what we're going to be enjoying today.
Okay.
Strawberry aromas lead into mouth-watering flavors of raspberry and red currant with a crisp, harmonious finish.
Sounds delish.
Let me twist off.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Now that we've uncorked the wine, are we ready to uncork in some crime?
Dun, dun, dun.
You have to say that every time. I know. Yes, we are. Okay, so the story I have for you guys is called the Detlef Pass Incident.
Okay.
Took place in, at the time, Soviet Union, which is today Russia. There's a group of 10 people. There are 2 women and 8 men, ranging from the ages to 20 to 38. They were students. I didn't write the school down. And I think the oldest one was one of the professors, which is a little weird. But
They were students.
at like a college. It doesn't matter. That
It's
they're
just
students.
how they knew each other?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they were all grade 2 certified hikers, which in,
Grade 2?
yes.
Okay.
It's, so in Russia, the highest certificate you can get, because they have a lot of like mountains and shit, so like that stuff. So the highest grade you can get is grade 3.
Oh.
So
Are you a grade when you go on Mount Everest?
well, I don't know. This is in Russia.
Russia.
but
Okay,
these
so
are-
they were grade 2 and grade 3 is the highest.
Yes.
Okay.
Is
So-
that what they were in school for?
No, that's probably a hobby.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think it's
It doesn't say what they were in school for?
not in my notes.
Okay.
Okay.
It
well,
doesn't really. I don't think it really matters.
Okay.
The main focus to take from that is like they knew about hiking and skiing.
They were legit.
So the 8 of them planned an expedition across the northern Ural, which is a mountain range that divides Europe and Asia. And I found out it's the only, like that's the only countries that are divided by a mountain range. Like that's the line between the two. So they were going to do an expedition on this mountain, and once they returned, this trip would have put them at grade 3
Wow,
certified.
Oh, so that's how you
Hikers.
go higher up, is you got to do these
Yeah,
hikes.
you have certain mountains that are
Adventures.
tougher
Okay.
at certain times of the year. So the time they were going, you know, it's like February, so it's winter.
Right.
So they, because of the conditions it would have been in the mountain and everything, it would have put them to grade 3. So like they knew what they were doing. So on January 27th of 1959, they set out on their expedition. The next day, one of the men in the group bailed, said he had knee and joint pain, so he turned back.
That'd be me. I'm out.
I know, day 2. This seemed like fun, but
Sorry.
I'm
But
over
God,
it.
he went back by himself. I'd be freaked.
Well,
How
they weren't
long?
that far at that point. Day 1?
I thought you said day 2.
Oh yeah, day 2. Sorry.
But at that point, you're already committed. Like,
Yeah,
I don't-
seriously.
yeah, but if you have joint pain and you got to climb mountains for like
But day
weeks,
2, you got to walk back by yourself. But still, I mean, you're bailing out.
2 days, you're still pretty far.
Yeah, you're still far.
Well, it was probably like the beginning of
I
day.
bet I would have been out. My joints would have been killing me.
I mean, I never would have agreed to this in the first place. Okay, so at this point, there's only 9 people because we lost one.
Yep.
So they're trekking along. So 5 days later, on February 1st, they hit a snowstorm, and they were keeping diaries, so like writing entries as they're going, so like to document their trip. So that's how they know this. So 5 days later, they hit a snowstorm, and it got so bad that they had like low visibility, and the weather was so bad, they lost the direction of like where they were going because they couldn't see, and they ended up like way more elevated on this mountain than they thought. But at this point, the weather was so bad. So instead of going down to where there was a tree line and like getting shelter, for some reason they were like, all right, we'll just make camp here on this where we're at. We'll go again in the morning. Mm-hmm. So they had the last journal entry that they had was like everything was fine. There was a snowstorm. They were stuck, but like everyone was in good spirits given the circumstance.
Like they figured it out. They were like,
yeah, we're good. We're just going to make camp.
We're just going to take a break.
Yeah, we'll go again in the morning. So that was on February 1st. By February 20th, so 19 days later, no one had heard from them.
How long was the trip supposed to last?
2 weeks. So when they got back or to the town they were going to end up and at the end, he was supposed to send a telegraph to let his family back home know we made it. You know, we'll be coming home whenever. So by the 20th, no one heard from him. They gave him a couple days because they're like, all right, they are hiking in mountains. Like,
and there was a storm.
Yeah. So by the 20th, they didn't hear back from him. So the college they went to, there were students and teachers who volunteered to go search. So they must have been going to school for it. Because if these people were comfortable enough to go search in the mountains, they knew what they were doing.
Well, maybe it's just like a thing in Russia that everybody does.
But they probably had to sign up somewhere or notify someone. And if they didn't come back at a certain time, they went out.
Well, that was they did this on their own. Yeah, I wonder how that works because like the certificate thing.
Yeah.
We got it. So the students and teachers and families started to go out and try to find them. But they didn't have any luck for the first couple of days, so they had to actually end up getting like Russia's form of army, whatever it's considered.
Like police?
No, like army, because they needed like the helicopters to go up and search for them. Mm-hmm. So by the 26th, 6 days after they first started searching, they found the tent. And this was the first weird thing, because all of the group's stuff was in the tent. So far, they hadn't seen any bodies. They get to the tent. All of their belongings are in the tent. So their hiking gear.
Their diaries?
Yeah, that's how they know about the entry. So the diary was in there. But the tent had been cut open from the inside.
What?
Wait, were things supposed to be outside of the tent? Because if they're in a snowstorm, all of their stuff would have been in the tent anyways, correct?
All their gear. Like their winter coats.
Oh, what they would have been wearing.
Yes.
But everything don't sleep in it?
You're in a tent in the middle of the mountains where it's freezing.
I feel like I would. I'm not a hiker. Maybe they have different things they sleep in.
But they're not in the tent sleeping, so where are they?
Okay, but I was just checking.
Their shoes and coats and everything were inside. And the tent was cut from the inside.
Yes.
So and they were not inside the tent.
No. The first thing they found was the tent. No bodies.
Was the tent locked from the outside?
There's no locked tents.
I'm just curious. Was there like a padlock or something? Like, why the heck was it cut from the...
That's the first weird thing. Okay. Just wait. It gets weird. It gets very weird. So, they found footsteps around the tent.
Footprints?
Footprints, not shoe prints.
Oh, so they saw toes.
Barefoot?
Footprints. The tracks that were left were made by people. They counted 9 tracks.
I just have a question. So, they didn't have another snowstorm in this time? Luckily, they didn't have another snowstorm and they found these footprints.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because...
Did it not snow again?
They had this huge snowstorm, and then 6 days after they searched, there's not another snowstorm? I'm just blown away. How fresh are these footprints?
So they found footsteps. All the tracks they found, they were either people that were barefoot in just socks, or there was one track that had one shoe on and one not barefoot.
Were they... Like, could they tell if it was walking or running?
That was the other thing. I didn't write that down, but I do remember reading it. They weren't running. It was like they were walking. So they chose to do this. They weren't... Casually. They could tell by the way the footprints are that they were, walking on their own accord. Like they weren't running.
But they were all walking together.
Yes. Because they followed the footsteps.
And did they count how many shoes were in the tent and how many footprints were there?
Well, they said everything was in the tent, so I'm assuming nothing was missing.
And there were enough footprints... And sock prints for 9 people?
9. Okay. They said they had 9 tracks. So they followed the tracks. It went for about a mile and ended at the tree line, which they should have just gone to in the first place to get shelter. So they found small remains of a fire, and not far from there, the first 2 bodies.
So they should have just pitched their tent in this tree line.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if a snowstorm,
But
it would have.
they couldn't have. They probably didn't know it was there when the snowstorm was happening, right? Because that's why they pitched a tent where they were. Because you said that, like, they couldn't see.
Yeah, maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
So,
But how did they know to go there?
So they all went over to this tree line and started a fire, and then 2 bodies were found.
Just wait.
Oh,
Yes, but that's where we're at in the story. So they found 2 bodies. The hands on one of the men were burned, but if he was trying to start a fire with his bare hands, that's fine. And they were found wearing only their underwear. And the tree that they were found by had branches broken, like as if someone was trying to like climb the tree. And like maybe trying to climb to find the tent, or I don't know what he's looking at. But it was, the branches were broken like someone had tried to climb the tree. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm just still wanting to know why there was no snowstorms and how fresh the footprints.
Yeah, when
Well,
are we
just
coming
wait,
back
though.
to that? Because I have things to say.
I'll tell you when. I'll say, okay, we're
Okay.
coming back to that point. Okay. So they searched the area between the campsite and the trees where they found them.
May I reverse real quick?
Mm-hmm.
So you said the twigs were broken in the tree?
The branches.
The branches. Maybe someone was there anything tied or anything? Were they like trying to tie something as like a flag to like, hey, we're down
maybe.
here? I'm just curious. Was there anything in your research?
No, but not, as we're talking about it out loud, though,
Wait.
maybe they were breaking the branches to
Yeah.
start the fire.
Yeah, I was
Well,
just going
that
to say
too,
that.
but I was just wondering if anything was in the tree.
No, they didn't find anything.
Yeah, so how did they... Why would they say that it was them trying to climb up or something? Like
Yeah,
they could have,
branches, yeah.
they could have just been breaking it off to start the fire.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but if they were trying to climb the tree, they might have been trying to climb to find the tent also. Like trying to get... Because the tent was up higher. They were downhill at this point at the tree line. So they were probably trying to climb to look,
And were both bodies in their underwear?
Yes.
Okay.
The first 2 men were both in their underwear.
Okay.
Okay. So they searched the area more in depth between the tree line and the fire and the tent. And they found 3 more bodies. 2 more of the men and 1 of the females, which was Dyatlov, the leader of it.
Wait. Like in a different direction?
You'll see.
No, a different direction from what they traveled from the tent to the tree line? They found these bodies? Or the
They're
same
in
direction?
between this area. But just wait.
Okay.
So they're found in between where the first 2 men were found in the campsite. These
Okay.
bodies are found in between.
Okay. Is there a lot of snow? Like, how many feet of snow are we talking?
I mean, I'm sure many.
Okay. So a lot of snow.
I'm sure at this point they had to bury, like they dug these bodies up.
Oh,
They weren't
okay.
just laying on the ground.
Okay.
They saw
It's
the,
like, sorry.
Wait, but if they were buried,
well, like under snow, like snow had fallen. They weren't like,
but their footprints weren't covered?
I know that you get drifts and stuff, but yeah, it just...
Yeah, the footprints, the
You're
snow,
right.
the buried. But continue.
okay. So the way that these bodies were found is weird. They were found like spaced out and in positions that made it seem like they were trying to go back to the tent. So like one was found 100 feet away from the tree, or 1,000 feet. And then the next person was like 15,000 feet away.
1,500.
1,500. 1,000 feet, 1,500, and 2,000 feet away. So they were like spread out. And they were found wearing like, these people weren't completely undressed, but like you could tell like when the first person died, they started taking clothes from them and putting it on and then
Oh.
going to the next, because they were freezing. This guy couldn't make it. He died. So they took pieces of his clothing to put on because they were in limited clothing and kept going. So like the leader, when she was found, she had like a piece of the other guy's shirt like wrapped around her foot because she didn't have shoes. So when he died, she took his shirt and tried to like cover her feet
But
up.
then she died just a few feet. Not a few feet, but you know what I mean.
I mean, you're in like no clothing in the middle of a snowstorm.
And if
in
you don't
horrible
have shoes
conditions.
on, you're going to go quick because you can't walk.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you're about to go that quick, like you're so cold, I wouldn't even have thought to take clothing off.
Well, just wait. So, they couldn't find the other 4 bodies, and the first 5, after like autopsies and stuff, were said to have died for hypothermia. So they just kind of like let it go at that point. Like, okay,
But they hadn't found the other bodies at this
no,
point.
not yet.
Okay.
But they were just kind of assuming there was a snowstorm, things got bad.
Yeah.
They all, the other
Right.
bodies are probably buried somewhere. So 3 months later, so we're now in May of 1959, they found the last 4 bodies. This is when we're coming back to it, under 13 feet of snow.
So there's still snow in May in Russia?
In the mountains, there's
Yeah,
always
you gotta
snow.
remember the mountains, just like Mount Everest. It's always snow.
Yeah, it's just always snowing. But this is the part I couldn't quite understand, and everything I read like didn't really explain it. They were found in like a ravine, so like a stream of water,
Under
but
snow?
it was like under snow. So I can't quite comprehend what that means.
Wouldn't that be ice?
It's like a
No, 'cause it was
tunnel
running water.
almost.
Did you find pictures of where they're...
Well, at this point they were dug up, so you can't really tell.
Well, it's almost like
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe it
Well,
was
it's
right
like-
next to a ravine?
Well, the thing is like they were in the water. Like one of the like the female that was the last female that was found, like part of her face was like. We'll get to it.
Wait, okay, but can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
So, is this where we can talk about the snow or no?
Yeah, because they were found under like 13 feet of snow, and there is a picture of like how far they dug. I'll show you guys, and like a person standing there to like give a
Right.
perspective of like how deep this was.
Yeah,
like
but-
13 feet of snow. That's like three
so
of
they've
me.
gotten a lot in that time. But going back,
To the other people who were found 6 days
Yeah.
later, they were under snow, but their footprints were still visible.
I know, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
yeah,
Somebody
I
had to
don't-
have
yeah, I don't
buried them or
understand
something.
that.
It doesn't make sense how they'd be under
That's
snow,
what
but
I
their
was thinking,
footprints
they
are
were
visible.
buried.
But they didn't say. They said there were no other footprints of anybody. Like there was no set of footprints that they couldn't place with somebody. But how are their footprints? I don't know. I guess
Were
I don't
they?
know.
Were any other body parts cut off?
Well, the next.
Okay.
Oh,
So the last 4 bodies that were found. These were they were mostly dressed. So, 2 of the men died from, or one of the men died from a major skull damage.
Okay.
so he was hit on the head.
But there was no external wounds.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Like,
Explain.
if you were to get hit in the head
bled
really
out.
hard with an object, it would cut your skin.
And there was no cut?
No. One of the men and the women died from major chest fractures. So same thing. Like if something hit them hard. But,
Were they
They're-
bruised?
well, yeah, I don't know about bruising, but it says there was no external wounds other than on the faces, because the female that was found was missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips.
But not necessarily. I don't think you would get cut.
No, hold on. So after the autopsies were done, it was said that like the injuries they had were comparable to injuries you'd get from like a car crash, like the force of a car hitting another car, like that. These injuries could not be caused by another person.
And they said that, like, the chest and the head was how they died. It wasn't done after they were already dead.
The missing body parts happened after they died. Like the tongue and the eyes missing happened after they died, but that their cause of death was the chest and head injuries.
So, is the tongue edible? I'm just thinking, did
I
someone...
mean, any part of the body's edible
did
for
they
cannibals.
cut that out and eat it for food?
Oh. Like, did the other people?
Yeah.
Why would you
To
start with
survive.
the tongue?
I would never think that either, but I'm just thinking they got no food. I don't know if a tongue's edible. I'm just saying.
They started with her eyes and her tongue.
I mean, I guess that's the easiest thing to do instead of like cut out flesh. I mean, it's right there. I wouldn't think that
Yeah.
either, but I was just thinking.
But the eyes.
Yeah, you'd have to get in there.
Did they determine if they all died the same day, the same time?
I don't have that.
Because I wonder if, like, the girl was the one with the missing lips, eyes, and tongue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if she had died first and they, I don't know, ate those parts because they were warm, or
Did her eyes just fall out? Did they? Like,
No, because they couldn't find the eyes. I mean, I guess they could have like.
did they find the tongue or the lips?
No, they never found the.
Maybe
well,
it's in the stomach,
the tongue. It does say the tongue was never found.
but the eyes and the lips.
Well, the lips is a part of her lips.
Would they just?
So I wouldn't say her whole lips were cut off.
Would they just kind of like
Wouldn't they?
disintegrate though? Well,
I was
no,
like, couldn't
'cause
they break
it
down?
would probably not because it's cold there. So,
Oh.
like,
what
if
if-
you're in surgery and you put a liver on ice, it
Yeah.
stays. So, yeah, it wouldn't there. It would.
And especially if they're 13 feet under snow.
Yeah, it'd be really cold.
You would be able to find it. Okay, I'm shocked.
Yeah. So, and there were also small traces of radiation found on some of the clothing.
What?
How did they do that?
What?
How did they?
Well, they probably were doing all sorts of tests at this point. Like, what
but
the hell?
it doesn't, like, This is probably a stupid question. Like,
You're probably not the only one to ask it, though.
Ask it.
like being in the snow, getting wet from the snow, that doesn't...
No.
Okay.
So there was also this one part I read that is a weird thing. It was a 12-year-old that had attended the funeral, so probably like a family member or something. So I don't know how like concrete this is, but this kid said that the bodies had a deep brown tan.
I've heard that.
And if you live in the Soviet, or like if you're in
Russia.
I just wouldn't think.
I heard that people were saying at the funeral that their bodies did have a weird tint. I
Yes.
heard gray.
Oh, this said deep, but this was also a 12-year-old kid, so.
I heard that, and I've heard that, though, that they had a weird gray tint to their skin.
Well, they've been frozen for months, so
It
I'm
may-
sure the
it-
skin was
It may not have been gray, but I thought
a weird
they
color.
have
a different color.
Do they have something in their bloodstream or something in their body that's...
Yeah, they tested for radiation. Did they, like, test the stomach to see if the eyes and the tongues and the lips? Because I need to know.
It would have been disintegrated, or like, wouldn't it have been broken down? Oh, wait, you're dead, so no. I don't know.
I don't know.
This is also, like, back before they could really do
Yeah.
all these, like, forensic tests and shit.
Yeah, but 1959 is not...
I mean, they tested for...
Yeah, 1959 is not like, 1700, 1800. 1959, it was still...
Yeah, but do you think they were testing, do you think they could tell what someone ate then?
Yeah?
Yeah, 1959.
I'm really bad with that stuff.
Think about it. 1959, it was only a couple years before Dad was born.
I mean, pictures were still black and white, so.
Yeah, they were, but I mean...
They didn't even have TVs, did
you
they?
Still had, yeah, you still had
Barely.
hospitals and nurses. I mean, Grandma
Well,
was
yeah,
in the...
I know that, but, like, did they have the technology advanced
They did,
enough?
but not as advanced. But I mean,
It's weird.
So
Okay.
they had a brown tint, like they were tan.
A deep brown tan is what the kid said.
I didn't hear tan. I heard, like orange tint or, like, not like a normal tint.
I mean, it's also a 12-year-old kid, so maybe he just doesn't quite
And
understand
it's
that
not
it's
the
orange.
makeup that the morgue did.
Well, I mean, maybe it is.
We don't know.
Okay.
I only read that in one place, but I just thought it'd be fun to throw out.
Okay.
So at this time, the investigation of it was kind of stopped. They just said that the cause of death was hypothermia due to a compelling natural force, or another way to say it, a natural force they were unable to overcome. So like a snowstorm.
Right.
But the government kind of like shut it down. They were not allowing access to the site for like 3 years. You were not allowed to go there. And all of the investigation results were like locked away, classified. No one could look at them. And then like years later, they were reopened and like parts of the investigation were missing.
Okay, that's sketchy just for them in general to lock the
Yes.
site for 3 years and then lock the case files away for 3 years.
Right.
That's sketchy
Yeah,
in
that's
itself.
really sketchy. I have a question though. Do you know of any previous deaths on this mountain?
I mean, I'm sure they happen. It's
Yeah, I
But
know.
none
this
is
is-
weird.
but like not with the outcome like
Okay.
this, So because they locked it away and wouldn't talk about it, obviously theories started popping up
Pouring in.
here and there and crazy stuff. So we're gonna go over the most popular theories.
This is
quite
my
a few.
favorite part.
Yes. Okay, so the most common theory is an avalanche. Since they cut the tent from the inside, and it was from the back of the tent, not like where the zipper would have been, they're thinking maybe the way the tent was sitting, the avalanche was coming towards the door. So they cut out the back of the tent to get out before the avalanche. But why would you not grab a coat and shoes on your way out?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
The tent's not that big. You have to go to a different
Because
room
if
to
an
grab it.
avalanche is coming, it's coming quick. It's just
Why
like,
don't
you-
you have your clothes on in the first place?
Yeah, at least socks. Why would you sleep barefoot? That sounds so cold. But we'll get to that too. So it also could be the reason for the chest and head injuries because it would have been pressure from the snow, hence why there's no wounds. But there was no evidence of an avalanche. There was no like debris, so like from trees or stuff moving. The tent wasn't completely covered, which you'd think if an avalanche happened, it would have been. And the tree line where the bodies were found had no evidence of like an avalanche. They also, one of the ways to disprove this one, they're highly experienced skiers. Obviously, if they're about to get the most highest certificate on the way back, they wouldn't have made camp somewhere in conditions that there was a chance of an avalanche. Like, they wouldn't have said, oh, forget it, we'll just make camp here for tonight and move on in the morning. Like, if they thought there was a chance of an avalanche, they wouldn't have made camp there.
Right.
So did you say that the tent was on a hill or?
They were on a slope. Like, they were on the mountain slope. They weren't on, like, flat ground. I'll pull up a picture of the tent.
Okay, because I'm confused.
So you can go with your thoughts on this
I
theory.
disagree with an avalanche.
Me too.
I mean, it would make sense how their bodies are under all of that snow, but how did the 3 bodies that were close to the tent, what were their cause of death?
Hypothermia. They didn't have any weird injuries. The only weird ones
Was the ones that were found later.
were the ones that were not
But
found at first.
I just disagree with avalanche. The tent's not covered.
I'll show you
An
the tent right
avalanche
now.
can't, like...
Parts of the tent
partially-
are still standing. That wouldn't have been.
What?
Like this.
Yeah. An avalanche would demolish everything. Let me see this.
I think those are skis
But
standing
also,
up.
it's just the foot. I keep coming back to the footprints. Like, it doesn't make sense. How bodies are under snow, but their footprints are still freshly seen.
Is that a cross?
Let me see.
It might just be like see how these stakes are, but it's in the ground. It might just be like a stake that's not.
I just
like an
disagree
evidence
with an avalanche.
stake.
Oh, I
An
think I just hit
avalanche
you.
is like dangerous and nasty. The tent would be completely covered.
Right.
It doesn't pick and choose. Oh, it's just an avalanche. We're just gonna hit this portion of the tent,
Yeah, and it's like the middle of the tent.
but we're gonna leave like.
It's like, was the avalanche only the size of a tent?
Yeah.
Because the ends of the tent seem to be not covered, but
Yeah.
the middle is.
I mean, snow
We'll
is
post
like
pictures.
scattered around their
But
tent site, but if you look in the background, it's like nowhere else.
That's what I'm saying, and I will say this: they're on a slope, so I mean, you're still gonna get like
Runoff.
falling and runoff of snow. So it makes sense, like they might have some snow and that's falling, but no avalanche.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I disagree.
Me too. But we've got a couple more, so we can.
Okay.
So the next one is I might say this wrong, but a Katabatic Wind.
Oh, that sounds right.
We'll go with it.
Sounds like a word
Yeah, it
I've
sounded
heard.
good coming out.
Katabatic? Okay.
Katabatic. So it's very rare, but it's very violent, and it's just like when the winds up in the mountains get like intense, like I guess maybe like tornado type of
Like when
strength.
it's cold and you get that wind. That
But
just
it's like a very strong wind. It's
Yeah.
not just cold.
It's
like,
strong enough to throw snow around.
oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
So the skiers wouldn't have been able to stay in the tent with this wind. So they would have left trying to find shelter down in the woods. But again, why wouldn't you dress accordingly? Or at least grab your clothes on the way out and then get to the tree and get to the trees and dress. And again, like all of their belongings are still in the tent. So like why wouldn't you at least grab something?
How is the tent still standing?
Oh, sorry. They put snow on it. Like the snow was on the tent in the middle. If they would have thrown snow on it to keep it from blowing
Okay.
away and then left.
But also, why did they have to cut themselves out of it? When did they open the tent like a normal person?
Because it was blowing around too much. Maybe they couldn't get the zipper. So someone just took a knife and said, screw it.
Yeah. Were they all in one tent? How many tents were there? 2?
One tent.
One tent for 9 people?
That's what I was thinking.
I know the picture looks really small.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like
well,
the tent
they're-
looks really small
Well,
in the
body
picture. But
heat.
it's.
That's probably why they were all in no clothes, because they were all just like using their body heat.
I would still.
Yeah, but
wear
why wouldn't you
clothes.
grab them if you were going to leave the
I mean,
tent?
I don't know. We're not experienced hikers. These people are.
If we were in the snow in a tent, I would not want to be naked around you people. I would still wear
No.
clothes.
Okay, but
and we know each other. We're
Yeah.
related. They
Yeah.
just like are friends.
yes. So
I think I disagree with that one too.
on the topic of the dressing and undressing, so one of the other theories is called paradoxical undressing.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
So it happens in about 25% of hypothermia cases. It's where your body temperature is dropping,
Oh yes.
but for some reason your mind feels like
You're on
you're
fire.
on
Yeah, so
fire.
you-
So you would start
that makes
taking
sense.
clothes off. So maybe they were in the tent and they thought they were getting so hot that they started taking their clothes off. Okay, so 6 of the skiers were said to have died from hypothermia. But the ones that were found months later, the last 4 bodies, were wearing clothing. So they couldn't have died from the paradoxical undressing because they were in the right mind enough that they were grabbing pieces from another person. So earlier, when I was talking about the bodies that were dressed when they were found, it wasn't the 3 spread out that were found wearing other clothing from each
Okay.
other. It was the bodies that were found later.
That makes more sense.
Yes. So they couldn't have suffered from the paradoxical undressing because they were found wearing pieces of clothing like they were trying to layer up.
So the 3 bodies that were found by the tent were
were found later?
No. The 3 bodies that were found by the tent, like the same day that the 2 bodies in the woods were found, they were partially clothed. But the 4 bodies that were found like 6 days later or whatever had clothing.
3 months later. They were the ones that were limited clothing, but they were taking clothing from, if someone passed away, they'd take his shirt.
So we just mixed that up.
And can I just make my point of the outerwear so if anyone else is confused that's listening? Yeah. Okay, so when I asked in the beginning if there was enough items of clothing in the tent for 9 people, Kelly meant outerwear. I thought clothing in general, so I just thought they were butt-ass naked.
So just like their...
Like boots and coats. Okay. So just if anyone else was confused like myself.
There's snow gear. There was enough snow
gear. There we
go.
Snow. Okay.
In the tent, because none of them were wearing it. Some of them were still wearing.
Are we still on this theory?
Yeah, that's all my points on that one, so you guys can go.
So my only thing that I have to say is... Oh, checker. Okay, you said that when you have that hypothermia or you're going into it, your body is doing the opposite and you start sweating.
You feel like you're doing the opposite.
Yes. But how ironic that all of them have those symptoms. All of those people have those symptoms.
Well, they didn't all because the 4 buried were wearing clothing. They were taking clothing and adding
You're
it.
right.
But like the ones found in their underwear by the fire, they could have been suffering from hypothermia in the tent, got really hot, left the tent without clothes.
Because
that
was my point. If they were suffering from this, that they're hot, why would they go and build a fire?
Oh, yeah. True. Oh, yeah. For everyone.
That's what my note
it could have been like for sight purposes.
But why
to
not?
see.
Oh, like an SOS.
No. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Well, maybe they traveled too far and got lost, so they started a fire so like the other ones could come find them.
But why not leave your boots on at least? Like,
at least be smart enough to know your feet are in snow.
It just doesn't make sense why they would go
I'm just
build a fire butt-ass naked.
I'm just still going back to the footprints.
Butt-ass, they
Close
had underwear.
enough.
They're in their skivvies.
Another question. How far away were the bodies found that were 3 months later?
Oh, yeah.
How far
they were,
away
like,
from
right in the same area.
Okay.
But they were under the snow.
Okay.
Yeah, not far from where the rest were found. So they're in the same area.
So that theory can only be for not all of them.
No, that can only be for part of them.
And it still doesn't even make that sense.
I know.
Much sense because the ones who were building the fire were the ones that were close to being naked. But why would you build a fire if you're so hot?
Unless it started, like, the opposite started happening. Like, they started then getting cold and they were like, oh shit, now we're in the middle of the woods in our underwear.
And they couldn't find their way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the snowstorm.
Do you have another theory?
Oh, there's a couple more.
Oh, okay. So I won't ask my question.
Yeah, well, I'll go through all the ones I could find online and then we can have our own.
No, that's good.
Okay, so those are the most
common.
Well, I would say like realistic in a way.
Yeah, I mean an avalanche. Yeah, everyone's gonna assume that hypothermia.
Yeah, so there were other smaller ones too, like an animal wildlife attack, but like the bodies weren't eaten or like broken skin like an animal would attack.
Well, that, and you would also see their footprints if you're seeing human footprints.
Right, that was the other thing. There was no footprints.
And there's no blood.
Right, that's what I mean. There's no like external wound. So if an animal attacked, what did they do? Attack?
Yeah.
So another one was that there was there's a like a local like tribe that like lives in this area.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And it like they were considered an option at one point, but again, there's like no footprints, and that one was disclaimed.
What kind of tribe? An Indian tribe?
It's called the Manzi tribe.
Russia.
A Russian tribe.
Russia. Russia.
Mother Russia. Another small one was that there was an argument or like a violent dispute between them. But even if you're fighting, I don't care how mad you are, like you wouldn't walk outside without clothes.
And 9 people, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you all got in such a big fight that you all left the tent.
Yeah.
And they all want to be grade 3 hikers. They're like, we're in this together. Like, we're all going to be grade 3.
Yeah,
so, like, why would we fuck it up?
Like, you're not idiots. You're grade 3. Like,
well, they would have been grade
They're grade 2.
Or grade 2, yeah.
But, I mean, if you're about to be grade 3, that's the highest certificate you can get. Grade 2 is pretty damn good.
I just can't imagine the fight because it's like...
What could you have been fighting about? In the journal entries, again, that they found, everything was fine.
Okay, can I just ask one thing? The guy that tapped out, was he ever found or did he make it home?
Oh, yes.
Okay, because I have that in my notes. Where did he make it home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was fine. I'm pretty sure he like went to the funeral.
May I ask another thing? It's not about a theory. How close were all these people? Were any
Like
of them
relation?
related?
Like personally?
Yeah, personally.
I don't think any of them were related. I think they just like went to school together.
I think
So
they're all just friends.
all acquaintences, friends. That's it.
They're all just fellow grade 2
Okay.
hikers.
Okay, that's
They
my-
all
that
have a
answers
common
that. Okay,
goal.
that answers it. That
Yeah,
answers
but
it.
hold on, let me. Okay, so the next couple theories get a little weird.
Okay.
This is another one that I guess isn't that weird. It could have been. It's called an infrasound. So there have been instances before where it's not necessarily just in a mountain and with wind, but that's the example now. So like the wind flows around the mountain in such a way, in such a strong way too, I guess, that it creates a very low frequency sound that can actually end up causing like psychological symptoms. So it can cause fatigue. I don't know how to say this word. Nausea?
Nausea. Nauseated.
Nauseous.
Nauseous.
Cause you to be nauseous.
Yeah,
We all got
causes you to feel nauseated. All right, so it can cause you to feel fatigue, nauseated, or in the most severe cases can give you panic attacks. Which this is a theory because it could have caused them to freak out, slice the tent open for unknown reasons, and run out of the tent just to get away from the noise. And then once they got to the tree line and couldn't hear the noise, they came to their senses and they were like, oh shit, now we're in the middle of the woods in the winter in our underwear and we can't find our way back. So that's why they built the fire for warmth for the 2 in the underwear, and the 3 that were partially dressed tried to make it back to the tent.
Could that be why there's radiation found on them?
No. That wouldn't have caused radiation.
I was just
We'll get to the radiation theory.
I disagree with that too. All 9 of them, like I feel like
Well,
there's
yeah.
gotta be one person in there that's like, "Come on, guys, it's all right, just
But maybe-
trying to calm them down."
Maybe they were, but the 2 in the underwear ran out, and the rest were like, we have to go get them. We can't let them run around in the woods.
Oh yeah.
So then they all left the
Okay.
tent thinking, we can all go get them back. It'll be quick. And then they just died and got lost. Okay, so now the rest are a little bit weird. So the least weird is military tests, which would account for the radiation. So again, apparently that night there was like orange spheres, balls of fire kind of things that were seen in the sky.
Like a blood moon type of thing.
No, like multiple.
Okay.
Like moving around in the sky.
like aliens.
Could be. So apparently where they were found, like in this area, is in between like a Soviet nuclear testing ground. So they, around the time of their disappearances, the Soviet Union military was testing things called parachute mines, which are like bombs that explode before they hit the ground, and it causes injuries like the ones they had. It wouldn't like it would cause the pressure injuries, you know what I mean? Like not the external wounds. So it could maybe account for the 3 of them. And it could also account for, it's a nuclear testing ground. It could also account for the small amount of radiation on them.
Okay.
But it only would have counted for the ones that were found 3 months later, right?
Right, because they're the only ones that had those kind of injuries. But if they saw something they weren't supposed to see, they had cameras.
So did they ever go to these people?
They could have just, the military, I'm pretty sure it's the government that said we're not looking into this.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's why they put it away.
yeah.
yeah.
So along with the military, because of the orange spheres in the sky, aliens is an option, paranormal, because of the spheres
I think it's aliens.
in the sky. It also, it said that they were UFOs that either exploded or gave off a beam of energy that caused the deaths. But I mean, aliens opens up a whole thing. It could have been anything if it was aliens.
Yeah.
Like any reason. So I think this is the last big theory I found.
I don't believe in aliens, so I don't know.
Oh, you're going to hate this next one. This is my favorite theory.
Oh God.
A Yeti.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
So in June 2014, the Discovery Channel aired a
Documentary.
that suggested a Yeti was responsible. And there is a picture I'll show you guys and we'll post on our social media and the website. There's 2 reasons for this theory, 2 reasons only. This photo and then the fact that the tongue was missing and the eyes. This guy is saying, as soon as I heard that the tongue and eye were missing, I knew it was a Yeti.
But wouldn't there be footprints?
I mean, but
Yep.
if Yetis were real, wouldn't we have found footprints before already?
I mean, just wouldn't there be footprints? There's no
Yeah.
footprints. There was no animal footprints, so why would there be Yeti footprints?
But let me show you this picture.
Oh God.
And I don't know if this picture is, they said it came from the camera roll. And so, like, it's legit, but it could just be them messing around. And it
Wait,
was, like,
whose camera roll? They had a camera?
They had a camera, yeah. The
You
camera
didn't
was
tell
found.
us that.
Cameras and diaries, I said in the beginning. They were keeping a diary and they had a camera.
Oh, I didn't.
I didn't hear. You didn't say camera.
There's the so-called Yeti.
That's all that was found in their camera roll?
No.
I'd
In regards to a
freak
Yeti.
out. I would freak out.
So they're saying they
I
encountered
mean, it just
a Yeti.
could be a man.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
It
It could be one of them.
Yeah.
So that's the only photo that is on their camera.
Of the Yeti.
There's nothing else that
Nothing
would give
weird.
us any. Okay.
No. But there are, I'll show you a couple pictures now of, like, the bodies. The pictures aren't the best, obviously, because it was...
No, it's okay.
But some of it's just really creepy. Like, there's one... And also, I don't know, like... You know, sometimes you don't know if it's, like, real.
Yeah.
So this is one I see a lot, and this one really creeps me out.
Oh,
It's
my
a guy,
God.
or it could be a girl,
me
I guess.
see.
Her mouth is open and her hands are up,
Because
like...
they're in rigor mortis.
Yeah,
Well, they're
so
also like frozen too.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
But her mouth is open, her eyes are open. It's just an eerie photo.
Honestly, I'm
I don't like
stumped
that.
on this.
Yeah, so those are all the theories I found.
I don't think I agree with any of them.
So what do you
Do
think
you
happened?
lean towards any of them?
I think it's government for sure.
I think it's government.
I think
Covered
something's
up.
behind it. Yeah.
I think they saw something they weren't.
Mhm.
I believe that one with the thing in the sky, and they saw something they weren't supposed to. But I also could see aliens.
I honestly think someone's covering something up. I don't know. I'm stumped. I just don't understand why they cut the tent from the inside
Right, that's what's
and
weird.
couldn't even grab your boots. That's what I don't understand. That's the first thing that I would have grabbed is my freaking boots.
Or like
Right.
the blanket you're sleeping in, like the sleeping bag.
If I had to choose from coat and a boot, I'd at least grab the boot though, because my feet. You're not gonna make it if you don't have something on your foot.
Did they find a knife or something that they were? That,
Oh, I'm sure they had
Okay.
knives. I mean, they were out in the elements
but
surviving.
why cut from the inside?
And why leave
there
without
could have
your
been something
underwear?
wrong
Or-
with the zipper.
And there could have been.
I did read somewhere that they thought maybe... No, I can't find this picture. This is weird. That maybe they heard something because the camera was found outside of the tent. So, like, they heard something and went to take a picture, and it was government related, and the government was like, oh, shit, people are seeing this, now we have to kill them all.
I think I believe the government thing. I mean, the radiation,
that seems the most real.
the fact that they didn't even look into it. They were like, oh, it's just, hypothermia is what they died from. And then, like, things were missing when they go to pull the file up later.
Because even if the zipper was stuck and you needed to cut open, I wouldn't be in a rush and I would grab my boots.
But I mean, if you are running with your camera and you want to take a picture and you're thinking maybe you're going to go back into the tent, I don't know. But also it's cut open, so you're kind of screwed.
I just feel like if you had to stop and pitch a tent because the weather was so bad, what would make you run outside in just your underwear?
With a camera, I'm thinking that they thought they were going to go back into the
But
tent.
if the weather's so bad that you had to stop hiking and couldn't find your way back anywhere, why would you even think of picture outside and your underwear's open?
I think at that point the weather wasn't that bad if their footprints were still visible.
Oh, that's
But
true.
if you're cutting open the tent, you're not going back in that tent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you're not using it again.
Yeah, you're not. It's not usable again. I don't know. The footprints is driving me insane because in all those days that passed, their footprints were still there.
Yeah, 6 days later.
Oh,
Did the
here's-
government place their bodies and say that's where they were found, and really that's
Here's
not
one
where they
showing.
were found?
Sorry.
Oh, the inches
Depth
of
of
snow.
where those bodies were.
Jeez.
I don't know. I feel like the government almost placed the bodies. That's how they were found because.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
someone's covering something up.
So did they find any of the bodies with one shoe on?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure, but they just didn't specify.
Yeah.
But like, what made you only have one shoe on? Like, what situation
Yeah.
were you in even before you left the tent that you only had one shoe on?
Maybe they were trying to run because the government was coming.
Yeah, that's what I was
or
thinking. They
something.
were running and
He
one
was
fell off.
trying to put his shoes on.
Yeah. I'm blown. I still.
But it still doesn't make sense why those two guys go to start a fire.
They were in their skivvies. They were cold.
I was thinking either they're trying to build a fire for warmth or they're trying to set off a signal.
But they're experienced hikers. They wouldn't have gone out there in their underwear to start a fire if they were trying to get help.
That's what like sits the that sits unwell with me is like they were so experienced. They should have known better.
That you don't go out in the snow right after a snowstorm. It could have still been storming. I don't know.
Maybe they did the fire at a different time. Maybe they built that fire later or like earlier and like cooked lunch or something. And the fire has nothing to do with when they were out there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the eyeballs missing. So
why would the government take their eyeballs?
Maybe
she saw things.
They wanted to take pictures of it to see if they saw it.
Anything
Remember
in the inside?
In the crouch one. The crouch one.
Oh, yes.
Maybe they went out and made a fire earlier.
Yeah.
And then they went out. But yeah, why are they out there in their underwear?
I bet you the one guy who like left 2 days in is like, thank God. But like also like that's joints. Terrible. Yeah, thank you, joints. Okay, so let's go around one last time and just say what we think our theories are. Megan, you can go first.
So for theory, I'm stumped. I think someone's covering it up for sure. I'm still blown away by the footprints. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was an avalanche. I don't believe in aliens. So I guess I'm just going to, if I have to choose, it's government.
Yeti. I'm just kidding. No. I either think it's the Katabatic Wind. That one seemed like it could be maybe realistic, but my gut's saying government cover-up for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Government cover-up.
That was easy.
So if you guys want to chime in and let us know what your theories are, if there's anything different,
let us know.
You can contact us on our website on the contact form at uncorkedcrime.com. You can DM us on Instagram and Twitter at uncorkedcrime.
Let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a 5-star rating, too, on Apple Podcasts.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Subscribe and rate.
Maybe we'll do a giveaway for people who do write a review, and we can do a random giveaway of Uncorked Crime.
We got some goodies.
Yep. So do we want to talk about the book?
Yes. So our first book we're going to be doing a review on, which will be in about 3 or 4 episodes or so.
Yeah, we're going to give everyone like a month to read it.
Yeah. So if you want to read it before we talk about it, which you'll have to do on...
We'll give everyone a heads up.
Either audio or Kindle at this point, because you can't go to a library. And I don't think books are essential, so...
Yeah, you can... I think you can order it at Target and pick it up.
Okay.
We also have the book, so if anyone local wants to borrow it...
Yes, you're more than welcome.
We got to ask Mom first.
We got to ask Mom.
So it's called Mr. Nobody by Katherine Stedman. It's a suspenseful thriller. It's got a lot of twists and turns, and I definitely didn't see the ending coming, and I read a lot of books, and usually I feel like sometimes I can pinpoint what's going to happen. Didn't see the ending coming. It was really good. Amelia's in the process of reading it right now.
Yeah.
And then once she's done, we will do our review and talk about it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with Kelly. I did not see the ending coming, but it was a really good book.
Yeah, definitely a good read, regardless if you listen to our book review or not, or agree. You should definitely still read the book.
Yeah, so we want to talk about that. And then, like, if anybody has any listener stories they want to tell us, they can email us at uncorkedcrime@yahoo.com or on the contact form or on social media. We want to, I think listener stories are so interesting.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, if you have good stories, definitely share.
Send them in.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to share.
Yeah.
And tune in next week, and I'll dig into a local ghost story, local to Jackson, Michigan. So tune in.
See you guys next week.
Cheers.
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 Oh.